Hello there!
You know how your mom and I can't agree on what stories I should tell you? Well, what if I told you there was one that we can both agree is awesome?
That would be inconceivable.
Here's The Princess Bride.
Please understand, I hold you in the highest respect.
So we meet this kid, who's staying home from school because he's sick. He's having a good time playing video games when his mom comes in to tell him that his grandpa's gonna watch him today. But he doesn't want him to because he doesn't like the way his grandpa touches him.
Someday you may not mind so much.
Then when grandpa comes in and touches him, his mom's like, "Why don't I leave you two alone?"
And shut the door.
Grandpa says, "I've got a special present for you. It's the same one I used to give your dad when he was your age." The kid says, "I don't want it." But Grandpa's like, "Oh, come on, just a little. You'll get used to it." And the kid gives in.
I don't want to see this. Man, I can't see this.
I don't want to hear this.
It's a book, you little perv. Get your head out of your ass.
Don't make yourself a fool.
So he starts reading The Princess Bride.
She passed it already.
Oh my goodness, I did. I'm sorry.
So we meet Westley, a dude that works on a farm, and he's got a crush on the farmer's daughter, Buttercup.
Which is a dumb name, by the way.
Now Buttercup thinks it's funny to make Westley do as much work as possible, and won't even use his name when she orders him around.
Come on, boy.
But he kills her with kindness until she's like, maybe I do want to bang him, which does not work with today's women.
Don't think that I'm some kind of weirdo who you shouldn't meet for the best fried clams in Maine.
Get used to disappointment.
But if she's so mean, why would he like her?
Because she's hot, and only ugly people have to have good personalities.
It's been 20 years now, I started to lose confidence.
In fact, he only says the same thing to her whenever she talks to him.
As you wish, as you wish, as you wish.
Maybe he's retarded.
Plus, there's no one else around, especially at their level of hotness, so it was bound to happen sooner or later, even if he's had the same dirt on his face for years.
Gross! He's dirty, and he's poor.
And this is when that little shit interrupts Grandpa telling his story to complain about what's happening.
They're kissing.
Wow, that would be really annoying. He should just let Grandpa tell the story.
Yeah, you think?
Keep your shirt on. Let me read.
So now that they're banging, and Wesley's learned to wash his face, he wants to be with Buttercup forever. So he ditches her on her family's farm to travel the world looking for money.
Why are you doing that?
Why can't they just stay on the farm?
Because this is way back in the day, and he needs to buy her from her dad. So he suggests a long-distance relationship while he comes up with the money.
We'll never survive.
You're only saying that because no one ever has.
And then he's immediately killed by pirates, and Buttercup's like, I guess I'm gonna die alone.
I myself am often surprised at life's little quirks.
So 5 years later, Prince Humperdinck decides, instead of marrying some inbred chick from another kingdom, he would find the hottest poor chick in his own kingdom. So he decides to marry Buttercup, who's super depressed that he's not Westley.
If you tell me I must marry you, please believe I will be dead by morning.
Well, he's dead, so she might as well become royalty.
Look, she would rather have a roll in the hay with some dirty stable boy than to live in a palace with some pampered prince.
He is trash! 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 Not for you!
But since he paid her dad, I guess she has to.
I think that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
She likes to get away from the castle as much as possible and take long-ass rides on her horse. Then one day, she comes across these three dudes just awkwardly standing in the woods. Then she stupidly tells them that no one else is around and then doesn't try to get away on her horse when the short one tells her that they're there to kidnap her.
You gotta be a real moron.
The leader, Vizzini, wants Humperdinck to start a war with the neighboring country, so he's gonna dump Buttercup's body in that country and send her horseback with a piece of their uniform.
There will be great suffering in Gilder if she dies.
Fezzik the giant doesn't like this, and Inigo Montoya agrees with him. This pisses Vizzini off, because he hired them to help him start a war.
What is this, amateur hour?
But instead of saying, people generally die in war, he just makes fun of them until they do what he says.
So they just let the little guy bully him?
Yep.
There's more than one way to make someone small.
I can't believe that he is.
That night, Inigo sees a ship following their boat, and Buttercup takes the opportunity to jump. She thinks she can get the other boat to save her, but there are giant eels that eat people in the water. And just as an eel is about to get her, they get the boat close enough for Fezzik to knock it the fuck out. Then he drags her back on the boat.
You're a lot heavier than you look.
In the morning, the ship is gaining on them, even with their vast knowledge of sailing.
Wonder if it's using the same wind we are using.
Move the thing!
But they still arrive at the Cliffs of Insanity first. They have a rope hanging off the cliff, and Fezzik has to climb with the three of them strapped to his back. When he looks down, Vizzini's surprised that this dude dressed all in black starts climbing the rope behind him.
Why does he think that the black guy wouldn't be able to follow him?
Well, he says that Fezzik's the only one strong enough to climb all the way up there, so maybe people there just don't have upper body strength.
Spaghetti arms?
but he starts gaining on him, so once they get to the top, Vizzini cuts the rope, but the black guy's able to hold on and starts climbing the cliff. So Vizzini tells Inigo to wait there and kill him when he gets to the top. But he gets really impatient and negotiates with the black guy to be able to help him get to the top faster. He's able to convince him to accept his help by swearing on his murdered father's soul, and luckily, still having enough rope to reach him.
That was lucky.
Once he gets to the top, Inigo lets him rest for a while, but asks how many fingers he has.
What a very odd question. What made you ask such a question?
See, when he was 11, this dude with 6 fingers on his right hand killed his dad after trying to rip him off. Then Inigo fought him, got his ass kicked, but the dude let him live. So Inigo studied fencing for 20 years to be able to get revenge, but hasn't found him, and awkwardly introduces himself by asking people to show them their hands.
But he fought him. Why doesn't he know what he looks like?
It's been a long time, so he forgot what the man he got a very good look at and destroyed his life looked like.
Inconceivable!
So they go to fight, and Inigo is so good that he wants to fight with his left hand to make it a fairer fight. But when the black dude's holding his own, he's like, haha, I'm really a righty, and I'm gonna kick your ass. And it looks like the black guy might die, but then he's like, haha, I'm a righty too. And instantly disarms Inigo.
This weapon is your life. Next time, try not to lose it.
He prepares for a quick death, but the black guy just knocks him the fuck out and tracks the others.
Now you know that black people are the best in sports. Come on.
He's catching up to him, so Vizzini makes Fezzik stay behind to fight him. Once he gets there, they agree to fight without weapons and start wrestling. Fezzik starts off by going easy on him, but the black guy's able to use a rock to get behind him and put him in a sleeper hold.
Like Keith J. Strongbow.
It knocks Fezzik the fuck out.
Captain Insano shows no mercy.
Meanwhile, Prince Humperdinck and his men have started tracking him, and he's like, I'm gonna be so mad if they kill my peasant girlfriend. I looked all over the countryside to find the hottest chick in the land, so I will start a war to get her back.
I can only assume he meant you.
Then the black guy comes across Vizzini and Buttercup having a picnic. Vizzini threatens to kill Buttercup if he comes any closer, and she's too stupid to just roll off the rock to get away from the blade. So they begin a brain battle.
I know something you don't know.
The black dude poisons the wine, and Vizzini has to pick which glass to drink from. So Vizzini says, look over there, to distract him, and he messes with the glasses.
Misdirection. One of the first things they teach you at Online Close-Up Magic University.
Oh, he pours out one of the glasses and refills it.
No, don't be stupid. He just switches the places of the glasses, and then drinks out of one of the glasses that he could have picked the whole time.
Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
He laughs because the black guy didn't argue about drinking out of the glass in front of him, so he thinks he beat him, and then he dies.
Inconceivable.
See, the black dude pulled a sneaky and carries around this poison that he uses daily, so he's immune.
Who would do such a thing?
Then he unties Buttercup and they run off, but when they stop to rest, she begs him to let her go.
You are being rescued. Please do not resist.
How does she know he's not taking her home?
Well, Vizzini said that he wanted to steal her, and who is she to disagree with this super genius?
Have you ever heard of Plato, Aristotle, Socrates?
Yes?
Morons.
But then she talks up Humperdinck's tracking skills, which pisses the black guy off, and he threatens to hit her. So she's like, there's only one asshole in this whole world that big.
You're the Dread Pirate Roberts.
And he's like, yep, nailed it in one guess. Then she tells him how he murdered Westley, and that she'll never forget his eyes as long as she lives.
Eyes like the sea after a storm.
Roberts tells her that he remembers killing Westley, and that he's glad he did, because what kind of bitch gets forcibly engaged a measly 5 years after her boyfriend's death? So she looks him right in the eyes and tells him off.
The eyes are the windows to the soul.
But before he can respond, he sees Humperdinck and his men coming. So Buttercup shoves him down the hill, but he says something that makes her realize he's Westley.
Oh, are you trying to kill me?
So she goes after him.
Ow. Oh. How didn't she know it was him?
He had a mask on that covers almost half his face. Plus he didn't have any dirt on the rest of it.
Damn, that dude cleans so good.
But how did he know to go after her before anybody knew that she'd been kidnapped?
I'm constantly stalking that fox.
The Dread Pirate Roberts is always close to Florin this time of year.
Look, news travels fast when a prince gets engaged. So he sailed back to be mean to her for not waiting for a guy she thinks is dead to show up. All the while, he didn't let her know that he was alive for 5 years.
He was busy.
He was chicken shit.
Anyway, then the annoying kid interrupts the story and gets Grandpa to skip to the fire swamp.
It's rude to interrupt.
You don't say.
Yes, you're very smart. Shut up.
They go into the fire swamp, where Westley explains how he became the Dread Pirate Roberts, and that he's going to have somebody else take his place when he gets back to the ship. Then Buttercup catches fire and falls into super quicksand.
This place is a death trap, you understand that?
Wesley saves her, but she thinks it's easier to just die. He's like, no biggie, we got this. And then a giant rat attacks him.
That came out of nowhere.
He wrestles with it, trying to get to a sword that's just a few feet away from him, while Buttercup just stands around with her thumb up her ass.
Problem is that aside from all that beauty, you're not very interesting.
It bites his arm, but he's still able to hit it enough to get it off him. But then it goes for Buttercup, who just stands there like an idiot, yelling for her injured boyfriend to help.
You don't need a boy to help you win.
So he stops going for his sword to wrestle with it again, because she was too stupid to move around a little.
You'd have to dodge.
But she does eventually grab a branch, weakly prods at it, and then falls down.
I'm a stupid woman.
So Westley has to roll it away from her and gets bit in the chest, but he's able to spin it onto some fire, stab it repeatedly, and it dies.
We did it.
By we, I mean you.
When they get out of the fire swamp, they're surrounded by Humperdinck's men, so I guess their shortcut didn't work so well against a bunch of dudes on horseback. Wesley's ready to take them all on.
Good heavens. Are you still trying to win?
But Buttercup's like, you just came back to life. I am not watching them kill you. So she agrees to go back with Humperdinck if his men take Westley back to his ship.
You don't want me here anymore?
But she stupidly doesn't say, I'm not leaving him until he's on board. So Humperdinck tells his number 2, Count Rugen, to take Westley to the pit of despair. And as soon as Humperdinck and Buttercup leave, Rugen's men knock him the fuck out. But not before he notices that Rugen has 6 fingers on his right hand.
Convenient.
A few days later, Buttercup is so depressed that she lost Westley again that she has a nightmare about becoming queen and the peasants not liking her. So she goes to Humperdinck and is all, I would rather die than marry you. And he's like, if you think he still wants you after what a bitch you were to him, how about this? I'll get a letter to his ship, and if he comes back to get you, you can leave. Otherwise, we get married. And she's like, okay.
And what is that worth? The promise of a woman.
$2. Cash.
Later, Humperdinck and Rugen go to the pit of despair to torture Westley. But on the way, talk about how smart they were to dangle a peasant queen in front of the people, only to have her murdered to start a war.
This is what happens when the wrong people get power.
They even like that the last plan didn't work because the people like her even more now.
Queen of slime, the queen of filth, the queen of putrescence.
So Humperdinck's gonna kill her himself on their wedding night. Then Humperdinck tells Rugen that he's too busy to help him torture Westley, but not so busy that he couldn't take a long-ass walk in the woods that's far enough away that no one could hear you scream.
I'm swamped.
In the pit of despair, Rugen starts Westley on the torture machine, which involves an albino putting metal cups over his stomach, ears, and nipples, and then moving a lever. And this apparently shortens his life by 1 year.
Why would getting his nipples wet kill him?
I have sensitive nipples.
Meanwhile, Humperdinck has his chief enforcer form a brute squad to get rid of all the criminals that live nearby.
How would they know if they've got all the criminals?
They all conveniently live in what they call the Thieves' Forest, so they just kick everybody out.
Don't say anything without a lawyer!
So on the wedding day, the brute squad start arresting everyone, but there's a feisty drunk Spaniard that no one can get to leave. Of course, it's Inigo, and he's able to keep every enforcer back until one guy calls a brute over to grab him, and he doesn't even look to see who's coming. But luckily, it's Fezzik, who knocks the enforcer the fuck out and takes care of Inigo.
You know, for a merc, you're pretty warm-blooded.
He tells him about Rugen's 6-finger situation that I'm not sure how he found out about, and that they have to break into the castle to kill him. But it's guarded by 30 men, and Inigo's like, we need the black guy to help us break in. So they wander around looking for Westley. But Humperdinck has the guards doubled, and only the enforcer has the gate key. But before he leaves, Buttercup comes in, and Humperdinck slips, letting her know that he never sent the letters to Westley.
Liar! Liar!
You calling me a liar?
Liar!
But she stupidly doesn't doubt that he let Westley go and just says he'll be here and makes fun of Humperdinck until he locks her in her room.
Oof, the trouble this girl's causing, her mother should be ashamed of herself.
He's so pissed that he goes to see Westley and puts the machine on its highest setting, and he dies. But he screams so loud that everyone in the neighboring villages heard him, including Inigo and Fezzik, who go looking for him.
Why would they think it's him?
I gossip when I'm bored.
They find the albino, but their attempts to get him to show him the way fail. So Inigo asks his dad's ghost to help, and it seems to work.
For all this time, you're gonna show up and just all of a sudden you want to be my dad?
But they probably should have just waited for the albino to open the door.
I hate waiting.
When they get inside, they find Westley dead, and then the shithead kid interrupts the story again to get the ending ruined for him.
Spoiler alert.
His grandpa lets him know that Humperdinck lives, and the kid throws a baby fit until grandpa threatens to leave, which I'm just now realizing has always been an option. Getting back to the story, Inigo and Fezzik take Wesley's body to see Miracle Max. But ever since Humperdinck fired him, he's been afraid to cure anyone. But when they let him know he's helping a dead guy, he's like, okay, I probably can't make it any worse. But he still wants a good reason to save him, and doesn't believe Inigo's bullshit, so he just asks Wesley's corpse.
But he's dead.
See, I thought that too.
Well, it just so happens that your friend here is only mostly dead.
But when he is given a good reason, he still doesn't want to do it. Then his wife comes out and calls him on his crap, and that's when it dawns on Inigo that he would want to get back at the guy who fired him. So Max helps him just to humiliate Humperdinck.
You've got an overdeveloped sense of vengeance.
He gives him a pill, and they drag Wesley's body to a bridge in front of the castle to see that they've doubled the guards. But only doubled the guards in front of the door, and no one looks up where they might be able to witness a giant carrying a mostly dead body.
Did I make it clear that your job is at stake?
They don't want to wait the full time Max told him to and give him the pill now, and he immediately wakes up.
All right, I'm up!
But he can't move, at all. And the wedding's in less than 30 minutes. They want him to plan the assault on the castle, and he mentions 2 things that they would need.
A wheelbarrow, Holocaust cloak.
Both of which they were conveniently provided earlier that day. So after the quickest sunset ever, they prepare to storm the castle. They wrap Fezzik in a cloak and push him in a wheelbarrow, and he tells the guards that he's the Dread Pirate Roberts.
No one would surrender to the Dread Pirate Westley.
And as he says he's gonna kill them all, Inigo sets him on fire. So the soldiers all fuck off, leaving the head enforcer, who gives them the key.
Smooth talk the guard. 30 arms off.
They can hear the commotion during the wedding, so Humperdinck sends Rugen out to deal with it, and has the officiant speed up the ceremony to the point where they don't even say their vows.
Is that important?
Yeah, a little bit.
He didn't say it. He didn't do it.
Then the king takes her to a room, and she's like, how could Westley fuck up so bad as to not stop the ceremony? Now I'm married to this douchebag and can't run away with him. And that's when she figures it's easier to just die and says goodbye to the king.
Well, your highness, guess this is it.
Meanwhile, Westley, Inigo, and Fezzik make it into the castle and come across Rugen and some guards. Inigo takes care of the guards immediately and is prepared to duel Rugen. He says,
Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Do you always begin conversations this way?
And then Rugen bravely fucks off and locks himself in a room.
That is only because you are the slimiest weakling ever to crawl the earth.
Inigo needs Fezzik's help, so he has to leave Westley behind when he can barely move. But after he breaks the door down so Inigo can go after him, he gets back and can't find Westley.
I've always been a quick eater.
Inigo chases Rugen around the castle until he turns a corner and Rugen throws a dagger at him, hitting him in the stomach. Rugen's enjoying beating him after so many years, but Inigo refuses to give up.
The Montoyas have never taken defeat easily.
He weakly blocks the first few thrusts, getting himself more injured in the process. But then he gets the upper hand on Rugen by annoying the shit out of him and throwing him off his game.
Hello! Stop saying that! You killed my father! Prepare to die!
He disarms Rugen and plays with him a little before finally getting revenge for his dad.
I don't know what to do with the rest of my life.
Buttercup gets to her room, and instead of just running away, she figures it's easier to just die. But Westley stops her.
There's a shortage of perfect breasts in this world. It would be a pity to damage yours.
A little flat-chested. They're so perky. I love that.
She's happy to see him, but is like, we can't be together. I got married, and I have to be faithful to my crappy husband.
That does put a damper on our relationship.
And he's like, nah, we're good. I know you didn't say I do. And she's like, oh yeah, you're right, I didn't. And plus, he's a pirate, so he doesn't really give a fuck about rules anyway.
People in masks cannot be trusted.
So they celebrate being back together in Humperdinck's bed.
My Westley will always come
I
for
will
me.
always come for you. All right, come on, help me out.
Gently.
You think a little head jiggle is supposed to make me happy?
Are you just fiddling around with me or what?
Gently.
At a time like this, that's all you can think to say.
Gently.
Oh, my sweet Wesley, what have I done? He didn't come.
Then Humperdinck walks in to see his sort of wife laying on top of her boyfriend on their bed in the honeymoon suite.
Look, I don't mean to be rude, but this is not as easy as it looks, so I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't distract me.
Man, I'm sorry, I was freaking out there. I had an attack of paranoia. I thought you were sleeping with my girl. I am.
I didn't want to. It all happened so fast.
So he wants to fight, but Westley tells him that not only is he going to kick his ass, but he'll make him ugly too. So he just gives up and lets Buttercup tie him up.
You mean wish to surrender to me?
Ain't nothing like a little fear to make a paper man crumble.
Very well, I accept.
Then Inigo comes in, and Westley drops the act, and they help him get out of there. Fezzik apparently went off and got some horses from the stable instead of continuing the search for the paralyzed guy he left in the hallway. So Inigo tells him that he finally did something right, which is bullshit, because Fezzik has done the right thing the whole time. And even though it's nice that they have horses now, he would have helped out so much more by finding Westley so he didn't have to bullshit his way through a fight with Humperdinck.
I knew you were bluffing. I knew he was bluffing.
So this is probably the only thing in the whole story he didn't do right. But they ride off into the sunset.
Didn't the sun just set before they rescued her?
Look who knows so much.
And then the kid tells Grandpa that he should come back and read him the story again tomorrow. So he either plans on playing hooky again, or he's got like cancer or some shit.
So the romantic story that both you and Mom like is one where a country's about to be ruled by some jerk who wants to go to war so bad that he's willing to sacrifice the girl he promised to marry. And somehow the heroes are even worse.
What was that? What was that?
Fezzik and Inigo are spineless morons who still follow Vizzini even after they know he wants to kill Buttercup. Westley only comes back for her after he finds out she's about to marry somebody else. He doesn't even care that she thought he was dead for 5 years, and then is mean to her once he gets her back. Buttercup is nothing but dead weight the whole story.
I mean it, literally.
You mean figuratively!
No, I literally mean literally.
She doesn't do anything to save herself in the Fire Swamper at her wedding and just expects Westley to do everything. And then, these so-called heroes leave the jerk who wants to get a bunch of his people killed in a pointless war alive so he can rule over the people he doesn't care about.
Jesus, Grandpa, what did you read me this thing for?
So tell me, who the hell am I supposed to like in this story?
You're dead to me.
I fear I'll never see you again.
Of course you will. We need a miracle. It's very important.
I don't believe this. Hold it, hold it. What is this? Are you trying to trick me?
You know how much I love watching you work.
And remember, this is for posterity, so be honest.
Somebody's got to do it.
I swear it will be done.
I swear it will be done.
My love is like a storybook story.
Bye-bye, boys.
Have fun storming the castle.
Good night. Sleep well. I'll most likely kill you in the morning.